Times front page for Tuesday, April 11th, 2023. Thanks for joining us. I'm George Gerbo. The Pentagon, Justice Department, and agencies across the federal government are scrambling to track down the source of a major classified documents leak and to limit the widening fallout in allied capitals worldwide. Ben Wolfgang reports Pentagon officials called the leak a very serious risk to national security. They were careful to avoid confirming specific revelations in any of the materials, including apparent assessments of the Russia-Ukraine war and what appear to be internal political conversations in South Korea. The Defense Department has started an internal review, and the Justice Department has opened a criminal investigation. Biden administration officials said they're in contact with allies because of signs the individuals behind the leak are trying to sow discord between the U.S. and its closest partners. Legal scholars say Supreme Court precedents and a literal reading of last week's decision in Texas should allow the Food and Drug Administration to avoid tough decisions about enforcing a ban on the abortion drug mifepristone while the case makes its way through the courts. Tom Howe reports comments from Health and Human Services Secretary Javier Becerra that everything is on the table coincided with calls from Democratic lawmakers to ignore a ruling against the pill. Within hours, though, a chief HHS spokeswoman downplayed the idea that the administration could ignore the court. Likewise, the White House said that it will always follow the law and that disregarding a legal order would be dangerous. The Justice Department filed an appeal in the 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals and sought an emergency stay of the Texas decision so that it wouldn't take effect later this week. A growing trend in higher education is favoring evaluative feedback from professors rather than A through F grades, especially for first-year and graduate students. Sean Salai reports advocates of the method, also called ungrading or alternative assessment, blame letter grades for making freshmen anxious, perpetuating racism against minority students, and increasing dropout rates. Some mental health specialists warn that eliminating grading systems could reinforce students' beliefs that they aren't strong enough to handle traditional academic standards. Others say the push to end grading, which has exploded since the COVID-19 pandemic, reflects colleges' desperation to stop losing students. You can read all of these stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page. You can also find the entire lineup of Washington Times podcasts at WashingtonTimes.com/podcasts. An Arkansas judge overseeing a paternity lawsuit against Hunter Biden has granted him motion to shield his financial disclosures from public view as he fights to reduce child support payments for his estranged daughter. Joseph Clark reports Circuit Judge Holly Meyer recently ruled in favor of his request to keep his financial details private. She said the court has no concern for the political nature or aspects surrounding the case. The ruling signaled the case would not get caught up in the investigations of the Biden family's foreign business deals. And finally, despite South Korea's free elections, free press, and strong judicial system, its former leaders have routinely been imprisoned and sentenced to death. Andrew Salmon asks, is it a healthy sign that no one is above the law, or is it a sign of still pervasive political corruption and a system that seems to promote legal action against those once in power? South Korean political analysts say legal prosecution has historically been used as a political bludgeon. Critics say another downside of the South Korean experience is the empowerment of overambitious prosecutors. Find all of today's front page stories at WashingtonTimes.com/front page or on the Washington Times app, and find us wherever you get your podcasts. Just search Washington Times in any major podcast app. You can also find us on Twitter and Instagram at Wash Times for breaking news, sports, commentary, and more. For the Washington Times, I'm George Gerbo.